My parent hat is basically serve as a human physical snooze alarm. I will go there to her room every 5 minutes. Non-negotiable me time is super important. So we'll block it off and just communicate with my husband saying, hey, this is the time I need to be doing something for myself. So can you help out with other stuff? And I was like, oh, maybe delivery was just not so comfortable, right? And then the recovery is hard. So even though I was feeling increasingly more and more uncomfortable, I thought it was normal. And until the 5th day, I got discharged from the hospital, went home. I'm completely off painkiller from the drip. And that was the time when I can feel everything.
Let me start with a mind-blowing fact. More than half of the world's population speaks more than one language at home. That means most of us are living in a beautiful blend of cultures, stories, and let's be honest, a little bit of chaos. But here's the real question. What does it actually look like to raise a child in a home where 3 languages and cultures meet, all while running a tech career and keeping family ties strong across continents? Today, we are diving into the real unfiltered story of Cynthia, a powerhouse mom, an engineering program manager at Google, and self-declared global citizen. Her story is a real masterclass in resilience, laughter, and the kind of everyday magic that comes from juggling motherhood, ambition, and identity. Hello, I'm Edith, and welcome to my community, the Juggleverse Moms Balance It All. Before we jump in, please do me a favor. Hit subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a mom who is juggling it all, just like me and you. Cynthia, welcome to the Juggleverse.
Hi, thank you, Edith. Thanks for having me.
Let's start with a very quick question. What's one thing, big or small, that you've learned recently?
Big or small that I learned recently about myself, family, anything?
Anything.
Fresh top of from my mind, I ordered a Hungarian grammar book. I'm learning Hungarian now. First of all, from Duolingo, and I realized the information is very active, live, and I wanted to get to know more from the structure because I grew up in Asia. I need structured textbook style to help me to structure the system in my brain. So I actually ordered a heavy duty, I think 400-page Hungarian grammar book. It just got delivered 3 days ago.
Wow.
It was like a Bible. I opened it up.
Wow.
Trying to read through it. And my husband's Hungarian, so he was like, oh, don't show that to me. It's his traumatized childhood. So he refused to see any more Hungarian grammar. So how difficult it is.
Wow, it's very interesting. Okay, but first of all, actually your story spans along continents, right?
Yes.
You were born in Taiwan.
Yes.
You spent some time in the US and in Singapore now.
Yes.
What does this experience look like for you, and how did it shape the one who you are today?
I was born and raised in Taiwan, and then after my college time, I decided to pursue my master's in the US. So I lived in the US and worked there for 3-4 years. But all in all, my heart is still in Asia. So I decided to move back to Asia to find my roots, stay closer to the family in the region, and then move back to Taiwan, move to Singapore with my current job, which is Google engineering program manager at Google Maps. And all in all, that actually really helped me to have a different perspective from Asia to the US and then to Singapore, where it's full of very rich third cultural aspect. And then my background is actually political science and anthropology. So it sounds really like a huge contrast, how did I shift from humanity to engineering work? But our product, Google Maps, is really providing access of information to people and then help them to navigate the world, explore the world. So a lot of them is making people feel safe to explore the things around them. So that's also connecting people and places. We're hoping to build this product, make sure the map data is fresh enough to assist people to get around. And then that can, just make the world a better place. So I think that's where my humanities, social science part of me can really connect to my work now.
So you are saying that there's a balance between social sciences and engineering and humanities as well?
Absolutely. Yes. I think tech should be helping people to be grounded, find their roots, and connect to the real world instead of pulling them away from each other.
What does juggling it all means to you day to day, balancing motherhood, work, and being a wife?
I think for me, I have multiple heads. Sometimes like a small head, sometimes a big head, and we're shifting it every second or wearing everything stacked up simultaneously. So from a typical day, I would just say in the beginning when I wake up, I'm wearing the me hat, trying to like get out of the bed, organize myself so I don't look like a cave woman walking around. And then first I will actually wear my company hat, like my career hat, because we are a global company and my counterparts sit in the US, they sit in Europe. So sometimes overnight, a lot of things happen. I had to get back to the message and the email or any escalation first thing. So I would like freshen up myself, wear my company hat, brush my teeth, and then dive into work, respond to the priority messages. And then sometimes we have meetings from as early as 7:30 a.m. in the morning and then until like 9. So I'll just, freshen up, lock myself in the room, tackle my work first, and then come out and greet the family. And then in the meantime, if there is a break, I will like quickly switch on to my parent hat and then go to my daughter's room. I mean, we're really, really thankful that my daughter is a very sound sleeper, sometimes even too much. It's impossible to wake her up. So my parent hat is basically serve as a human physical snooze alarm. I will go there to her room every 5 minutes. First, opening up the window.
She's 4 now, right?
She's 4.5-year-old now, yeah. And then opening the window, open the door, make all the noise, pull over her blanket, turn off the aircon, trying to get her up, and I have to do it multiple times. And at the same time, after that, I have to, meanwhile, my daughter is waking up, brushing her teeth, getting through her morning routine. And then I'll take this opportunity to preview my day and then work with my husband when he has time to do certain things, when I have work commitment, how can we juggle our schedule? So like a rundown of the day, because our daughter is 4.5-year-old, but she has an even more active social schedule than us. So she's having play day, birthday party, extracurriculum, and so on. And throughout the day, go to the office. After we drop her off, I sometimes have to wear my daughter's hat. Like as a daughter, because I have parents living overseas from us, I want to make sure that they're okay. So checking in with them, make sure they're feeling fine, what they're doing and so on is also like part of the things I'm doing. Yeah, that's more about it. And then coming back, most importantly is I need to wear my me hat again to find time for myself, to decompress everything. So these are all the hats I'm shuffling throughout the day.
Yeah, as you mentioned, your family is far away from here. How can you manage to be in touch with them, with the loved ones? And on the other hand, how could you manage to build a network, a supportive network in a new country?
Yeah, I really miss my parents. So as I mentioned previously, I think I live in Taiwan and then moved to the US. The reason why I moved to the US is also because we have family members in the US. And then my husband is Hungarian. So my in-laws are in Hungary. And then my husband's cousin live in France, UK, all over the places. How can we find time? It's almost impossible, right? But I think thankfully we have very supportive like a work, and our work schedule can be flexible. So we always can find like about a few weeks to travel to visit them. And on top of that, we get to stay connected via social media, like video calls, messages, just to check in, sharing like useful information, make sure that we can help each other out. And whenever we have time, we visit them, or the other way around, we open up our place in Singapore to host all the families to make sure that they feel comfortable, and then Singapore becomes an extended home for them to visit. So these are the ways we try to compensate. And then whenever we're together, we didn't just hang out and like eat. We try to plan small road trips together to create additional core memory for my parents and my daughter to connect with them. Yeah, like a cultural immersion.
When life gets busy, like social commitments, shifting schedules and all the things, what's your go-to strategy for keeping it together somehow, or at least pretending it?
I think having a very organized shared calendar across the family is very, very useful.
I assume it's Google Calendar.
Yes, we use Google Calendar. So I created entry for my husband and I both had edit rights. And then whenever we sign up our daughter for something, we'll update there. And then at the same time, because she's 4.5 years old, we will have to clean up one of our like calendar to be with her, to take her somewhere and so on. And then that's also a very useful way to block our own time. Non-negotiable me time is super important. So we'll block it off and just communicate with my husband saying, hey, this is the time I need to be doing something for myself. So can you help out with other stuff? So these are the things that we make it clear, and then we make sure there is no gap. And I also wanted to call out one thing that Singapore has very good support because help is available. So for working parents, really like you have someone helping out with just literally bring the empty glass to the sink and then rinse it off and then load it into the dishwasher. This 3-minute like break time helped a lot.
3 languages at home. I have to ask, sorry for that. But what's the funniest or most unexpected thing that's happened as you were raising a trilingual kid, so to say?
So I speak Mandarin to my daughter at home because I'm Taiwanese, and then my husband's Hungarian, and then by right he speaks Hungarian with our daughter, and our daughter uses English at school. So it's really sometimes a storm spinning around. She will mix Hungarian words with Taiwanese, Chinese Mandarin word with Taiwanese accent, and sometimes English, but with a hint of Singlish in it. So it's really a big mash. But it's really cool that Mandarin Chinese become my secret language to my daughter. And then Hungarian become another secret language between my husband to my daughter. But sometimes we could be just heard in the household. If there's a secret recorder, it will be us shouting at each other or talking to my daughter from the other side of the house in a different language while the other person is completely clueless. Could be the simplest thing. And then we have to translate that into English so the third person can help. Either my husband or myself or our very, very kind helper. So sometimes we have to repeat the same thing over and over. And then now my daughter is fluent in Mandarin on a speaking level and Hungarian she's trying to pick up. So she uses a lot of different language. And me and my husband are also making an effort to learn each other's language. So I'm learning Hungarian now, as I mentioned earlier, and my husband's also learning Chinese. And we get things wrong all the time, almost 100%. So my daughter will be the one jumped up, like, Mama, that's not wrong. What happened to your R? You know that Hungarian R is extremely difficult for Asians to try to pronounce it. And meanwhile, my husband's Chinese has interesting intonations, which could mean like completely different stuff. Yeah. So, but I do appreciate him making an effort, learning the language of our own culture.
But how do you see this multicultural environment shaping your daughter's sense of herself? Mm-hmm. And actually your family dynamic?
It's really cool. So it's mixed with some laughter, mostly laughter, and then some planning chaos because we're trying to get one thing done in one language and then have to use all 3 to communicate. And my daughter speaks the language and then she's proudly Taiwanese and Hungarian both. And then somehow she realized when we travel to Hungary and Taiwan or in Singapore, she realized she has this superpower. She can communicate with people. She can convince them. She gets to get away with so many good stuff. People are literally impressed and then appreciate a tiny little 4.5-year-old girl trying to speak up using their language. And then she realized this is a good thing. So she's very, very proud. She kept on telling people, I speak Hungarian, Taiwanese, and English. And then she's also learning Japanese at school. So I think it's perfect. She is the best of all the worlds together combined. So speaking all kinds of language and us trying to talk to each other in each other's native language is really funny because my grandma is 95-year-old and then she lives in the US and she doesn't speak Hungarian and her English is limited. So there's one time over video chat, my husband was trying to wish my grandma happy birthday. And then he thought he got a hang of, he was like, I'm nailing this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to shout so loud to Cynthia's grandma and wish her a happy birthday. And guess what happened? he shouted in Mandarin, "Happy New Year." And then my grandma was completely confused. He's already old, but still sharp. And he was like, "What is this occasion we're celebrating now?" So the entire chat room just went into like utterly silence for like 3 seconds. And then I realized my husband was trying to say happy birthday to her.
Yeah, yes, actually he intended to, right?
Yeah, he had a very good intention. But the outburst of energy turned out to be a Happy New Year.
So you faced a major health scare after your daughter was born. Would you please be willing to share how it shaped your life and changed your life maybe?
Yeah.
How was it like?
So I had an emergency cesarean about 4.5 years ago when I delivered my daughter, which is normal because, sometimes it just didn't go out that well and then you need a surgery. But actually to this day, we still don't know what happened, even with all the analysis the doctor had done. Either during the push or the stress, there's some part of my intestine that was maybe just more weak to begin with. So as a result of the delivery, my colon ruptured. It burst basically with a pinhole, but nobody could notice at the time. So after the procedure, doctor stitched me back and I was resting in the post-surgical delivery ward for a few days. But it's my first time delivering. I didn't know the pain level. I have no reference. I was like, oh, maybe delivery was just not so comfortable, right? And then the recovery is hard. So even though I was feeling increasingly more and more uncomfortable, I thought it was normal. And until the 5th day, I got discharged from the hospital, went home. I'm completely off painkiller from the drip. And that was the time when I can feel everything. It was really painful. I couldn't rest the entire night. My resting heart rate was at 125 laying down, like I'm running a marathon. And I told my husband that was only one night at home. And we have a newborn, 6 days old. And I was like, take me to the doctor. We need to find out what it is. I'm in huge pain, couldn't function, couldn't eat, couldn't do anything. We went back to the doctor. Doctor asked me to rest a little bit and then offered me a full CT scan. Only later to find out that my entire abdominal is filled with fluid and like really, really nasty stuff with a full infection. So the decision was that I need to have a surgery to literally save my life on the spot. So they arranged an operating theater, surgeon showed up, everybody showed up, and then I was transferred to another big hospital from the original clinic. Long story short, I survived. And I have another surgical scar that's perpendicular to my cesarean. So I basically at that time I had 2 scars that's more than 15 centimeters. And I woke up in the ICU because that's also during COVID. So there's no like proper ward. And then the ICU was the place I have because I need to plug in with, I think, 6-7 different tubes and all the beeping machines, pumping things, sucking all the fluid. And I have 22 staples on my belly. Basically, I feel like a Frankenstein. Yeah, during COVID, also, my husband couldn't visit me all the time. He get to stop by at the ward maybe once a day for 30 minutes max. And then we have a newborn at home, so he had to be a new father alone. Yeah, but fast forward. After the surgery, thankfully, I think my body helped me out a lot. And with the excellent doctor, excellent hospital, I recover.
How long was the recovery?
Leaving the hospital, I would stay 8 days in the ICU and another 1 week. So total 2 weeks in the hospital. And the recovery is long because I carried the baby for 9 months. That's already a huge hit to my body. And then delivery, and then my hormone was all over the places at that point. And I had a huge other scar they have to cut out about 30 centimeter of my colon and intestine. So my body was a mess. So the recovery itself, physical recovery for the scar-wise, maybe 6 months. And then end-to-end, the muscle strength and everything, I feel like it took me about 2 to 3 years to build back myself before I gave birth.
And how about the emotional recovery?
Emotional recovery, that's a very...
What was the lesson learned
that's
about
a very
putting
interesting
yourself
point.
and your own health first?
Yeah.
even if it's
That's a very
impossible.
interesting point because I gave birth and then I was immediately removed from my daughter. So the motherhood part never kicked in. I was having a 6 staycation at the hospital and I didn't even realize I'm a mother now. So my connection with my daughter really only happens after I went home, after the surgery, after the second surgery. The mother nature never kicked in right away. I look at her thinking like, oh, wow, this is a reality. And then it's only after I spend so much time with her, growing with her, the mother and daughter bond actually show up. And fast forward now that I look back at the time when I was really sick until now, if I were there no more, I actually wouldn't have a chance to do all this kind of stuff and see my daughter grow at all. I would have missed everything. So sometimes when I'm like raging, yelling at my daughter or wanting to yell at my daughter, just because tantrums, I look at this and some part of my brain would just like, hey, it's okay, because you almost wouldn't have the chance to nag at her, yell at her, get mad at her. So actually none of that matters now. So I was able to detach from the emotion, like the small daily chores, and just think about, you have an opportunity to fight with your daughter or get angry at her, it's already a blessing.
Do you have to remind yourself frequently for that?
Actually, not really. I feel like that traumatic event really helped me to feel thankful and cherish. Yeah. Sometimes we're always our parents' kid, right? They still nag at us. And then sometimes I'm just thinking like, again. But as soon as I feel that, it's a blessing to have someone nagging at you. Because being alive is not a given. So that's my biggest takeaway.
You and your family make it a point to learn something new every year, right? Mm-hmm. What is the newest thing you are learning?
Wow, this year...
you mentioned Hungarian.
Yeah, I mentioned Hungarian.
This is for you.
So we wanted to... The reason why we set up this goal for ourselves is we feel like it's never too old to learn something. And then we see our daughter grow so fast. And we also wanted to not always be at a parent-teacher perspective telling her what she needs to learn. At the same time, we need to make effort in learning things with her. So she will see us trying, and then she will see us failing, and then she will see us fixing it through the entire process, because learning and championing one thing is not easy. You need practice. So we wanted to be in the same situation with her, learning together. So this year, we actually... I learned ski the first time in my life, and I'm 42-year-old. My success metrics was not breaking a bone and being able to go slide downhill. So I think that's a success. Like I came back from my ski. Yes. As I came back from the ski trip, like in one piece. And then my daughter also learned how to ski. She's a natural skier. It just looks so easy for her. And then I think she also appreciated the effort that I learned with her.
Cynthia, how do you nurture curiosity and love of learning in your daughter with all these juggling acts around you?
I think for kids, everything is new, right? So it's almost natural for them to learn anything, to stay curious. What we actually wanted to focus is to let her know and feel safe about being curious. Because I think humans are very much risk adverse. So if you try to do something out of curiosity and then you had a setback, usually you wouldn't try another time because you're scared of the consequences and thinking things might go wrong and so on. But we wanted to do things with her and then make her feel safe to try. Because if the unknowns become known, we end up expanding our knowledge and then things are not scary anymore. And then sometimes, like I said, like there's always setback. But then setback is not a bad thing, because with the setback, you found your boundary. And then at least you know the boundary. It's over there. And then you know where to push. The next thing to do is maybe you can feel safe to try again. And then you push your boundary. And then later the boundary will probably just get expanded. So we want to make sure that she knows that.
But as parents, you also show examples to her, right?
Yes.
Like maintaining curiosity.
Yeah.
I think that
learning how to
originates
ski.
From parents.
Yes. Learning how to ski, learning Hungarian. And then recently we also pick up tennis. I learned tennis before, but I haven't picked up a racket for 30 years. So now we're doing it again, and we're also sharing with our daughter the excitement that we have about reconnecting with the sports. And she's also very excited. She tried to pick up badminton because it's just a lot lighter to start with. Yeah, so doing things together and be curious is kind of like our family motto.
What's one mom fail that you can laugh right now about?
There's so many of them. I think like speaking Chinese it's not really a fail, but it was just like a very awkward situation. So Zoe is my daughter's name. She talked to me in Chinese, and sometimes when she was younger, she feels like Chinese is only a language that I will understand, but she wouldn't assume the environment. Other people will also understand as well. But sometimes when we go to Taiwan on the full flight of Taiwanese people, 99% of the people speak Chinese, but she didn't register that. She feels like we're still in Singapore or Hungary. So there's one time when we're getting off the airplane, she suddenly very loudly in Mandarin say, "Hey, mama, why is the uncle in front had no hair at all?" And that was the time where we're like, oh no, we're in trouble.
Yeah. Awkward situation.
Yeah, awkward situation. But thankfully the flight is very loud. So
I'm still interested that after a long day, how can you push and hit the reset button on you?
Reset button
is there?
Hard. Yeah.
Somehow you can relax and
I try to
let it go.
I try to wear my me hat, and then I have, because of all the like surgical histories and so on, I have non-negotiable physical training time. So I go to PT twice a week. That's something that I know is definitely a good investment to keep my health. And our body is the most important vehicle to allow us to experience anything, and then, spiritually or physically. So the workout time is non-negotiable, and I can detach 100% from the rest of the things. And then at the same time, if there is not enough time, with only 15 to 20 minutes, I love going for a walk. And in Tiong Bahru is really a good neighborhood. We're really thankful. It's really green and it has very charming buildings. So going out for a walk in Tiong Bahru in the evening is one way that I can always detach from the chaos in life and then the juggling. I can just be present and looking at people, go to the park. Even take out trash is a good break for me as well.
How about friends?
Friends are amazing. I think I might have mentioned earlier that I'm the only child. So growing up, other than family, friends is my backbone. And then we're really, really fortunate that within our professional network, I have a very supportive and excellent coworker. And then that helped to introduce me to lots of other excellent friends in the same field. And I also connect with new friends via some hobby. Like I love art festival, exhibitions, and have a lot of humanity, art-loving friends. Makes Singapore a home for me, like a safe place, and then you can exchange spiritually with like-minded people. Another very interesting group of friends is somewhere where I have not expected, because I'm a parent for a 4.5-year-old, and then I never thought I would have parent friends. But in Tiong Bahru,
you mean your daughter's friends'
like,
parents, right?
Yes,
okay.
Or like just friends with other parents, because I never thought I was
playground
like
or something. Yeah,
exactly. And I thought this is very superficial. We're never going to connect deeply just because it's not doesn't seem like super organic. But somehow in Singapore, in our little community of Tiong Bahru, we get to meet so many really diverse and super smart and kind people as neighbors and friends. And our daughter become friends with their kids, and then we become friends with the parents. There's always laughter, like very intellectual conversations and excellent outings where everybody in the family can enjoy. It's funny to mention that I think with Singapore being such a busy hub, people always go in and out and travel for work. I would say it's really the COVID lockdown that helped us to bond so well, because that was 1-2 years where we were not going anywhere. So we actually met through these excellent friends from doing picnic in the park. And then before you know it, our picnic maps, like the blanket become separate ones with 2 meter apart to a combined massive one. That's how we actually grow our network and really like see people eye to eye. Nobody's in a rush and connect with people. Yeah, so COVID is a horrible event for the world, but then for us, this is the silver lining.
Is there something you wish more people understood about being a working mom?
Yeah,
How do you see
absolutely.
that?
Sometimes I feel like people assume working moms are so busy, or maybe we appear to be busy because we're always jumping on
But
one.
it makes difference.
It makes a huge difference. Yeah, we're always doing stuff, wearing different hats. And I also feels like sometimes people are shy or intimidated to reach out just because they didn't want to disturb our usual life routine. They feel like having a kid will make us less available. I think all of these might be true, but I want to remind the working moms to like do our own part. Like never be shy to reach out. Just because your friend feels shy reaching out to you doesn't mean you should let it drift apart. Reach out to your friends, even if you're unavailable, ask them how they're doing. I think mutually people will appreciate this connection, and just don't let your close friend feel off grid for you.
Cynthia, thank you so much for being here and to being so honest with me.
No, pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much for having me here so I can open up to more audience, more people who are interested in this subject. And then thank you so much for being a friend and hearing me out.
My pleasure. And to everyone listening, you are not alone in this wild juggling act. If this episode resonates with you, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a mom who needs a boost today. Until next time, keep juggling, keep learning, and keep shining.